Hi, everyone. So, boy, things can change relatively quickly in about 24 hours, can't they? What a wild ride today was in the last 24 hours with Bitcoin going up to 104,000, coming back down to like 92,000, 12,000 swing in probably less than what? That happened in maybe 12 hours or so. I mean, from where we were to, yeah, I mean, it's just wild today. So, we'll take a look at what happened there. Obviously, we had bears waking up, manipulation to the nth degree, I think. We also have miners that were doing pretty good this morning, but then later on, they all pulled back quite tremendously here. That was kind of interesting to watch as well unfold. And then we got a couple stories today. We have a story from, three stories actually, from Bitdeer, along with Core and Hut 8 providing their production updates for November. We'll look at those, give you guys my thoughts on it as well. And then I also pulled in some new metrics as well to look at the miners and their revenue for 3 months comparing to the market cap, and then 12 months as well revenue to their market cap to get a multiple on it. What are they actually getting valued at right now? But that's it. And then we'll get to you guys' Q&A side of things here. So as always, you guys know the drill, not financial advice for anything only. Please do your own research, full disclosure down below. And if you enjoy this type of content, hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And here's what we have right now on Bitcoin. Today, look at that candle. That candle is just crazy. I don't think I've seen that kind of a candle here in a long time where we had that kind of a price swing in a day. I was looking back here, just going back through basically like beginning of the, middle of the year, and I don't see anything like that. I mean, I see we have one here, but it was more to the upside and everything else. This one was just all over the place, to the upside, to the downside, back up. It was nuts. I'm trying to see if there's anything else here that kind of looks similar to it. And I don't see it here. I mean, we have some big swings here in Bitcoin, but not like we've seen here today. This was just crazy, in my opinion. And what does it mean for us? Not much difference, right? It's just we got the big dogs playing in the playground, and we got to wait until they're out of it for us to start going back up here, especially with the miners. But right now, it's just manipulation to the nth degree. Like I said, we were going up quite nicely here in Bitcoin yesterday and into the morning hours as well. We were hovering above 100,000, which was nice. And then kind of like, let's go to the 15-minute chart. We can probably see that even better here on that one. You can see here, this was last night, right? This was 9 o'clock roughly on my time at least. We were still trading sideways, at least going up a little bit here. And then in the morning hours at 9:15, things really changed. And that's really kind of when markets started to open up again, right? Markets opened up, and what do we have? A huge downward trend happening in it, and downward pressure on it, especially right around 4 o'clock 15. This is after the market closed here, and things just definitely went sideways here. I mean, we went from basically on the 15-minute chart from a high of 98,000 all the way down to 92,000. So $6,000 roughly or so in 15 minutes. Somebody was really heavily pushing it down, wanting to push it down. And we saw the same kind of action happening here today with the miners as well. The miners, we had only, 4 maybe miners that were in the green here. Everybody else was in the red. If we look at those guys here as well, you can see how they all played out. Bitfarms was up at one point, I think they were up 10%, 12% or something like that. And then once markets opened up, oh my gosh, they started falling back down. So they were down 2.8. Bitdeer was up huge as well today, and then it closed down even lower. It was still up 5.6%. Cypher was up 0.58. That one was up nicely as well. That one was kind of climbing throughout the morning hours, and then finally started dumping towards the afternoon. Cleanspark was up also in the beginning, and then we had a gap on a lot of these guys here happening in the morning, and then that gap just got filled, and we kept going down even further. So Cleanspark was down 5.1%. CORZ was down 3% here. You can see a little gap here on that one that got filled in relatively quickly here. You got Hive being down 5.53. Same thing. We had a gap in the morning hours. That got filled quickly. Hut was up just a little bit here, 2.37%. That gap has not gotten filled in yet. So that was up much higher here during the day. Reached a high of 31.34. That is their new 52-week high, I believe. For them, IREN was up also nicely today, but then that came back down even lower from where it started out at. It was down 0.84. Marathon was down 4.51%. Same thing. Was up nicely this morning, and then it all came back crashing down. Riot was up also huge this morning, and then that gap got filled quickly here on them, and then just continued going down as well. So they were down 4.8. Wolf was down 5.5. Wolf didn't really have a gap here in the morning. It had a little bit of a gap here, but not much. And then it just continued kind of trading sideways and fell as well. So The bears did not take this laying down. They got mad. They got frustrated. So they took it out on everybody here. And it's just, part of the game we are in. We're going to have to kind of weather this even longer, it looks like, than I thought. And I think yesterday I even talked about that, it'll be interesting to see if Bitcoin stays above 100,000 for the end of the day, where if we close above 100,000. And sure enough, it didn't happen here. So this was our first attempt of staying above 100,000. We'll have a couple more attempts, I think, before we finally do that. But I think we're still going to do that in December here. Whether it's going to be in the next couple of days or in the next couple of weeks, I think it's going to happen. And then we will get closer to like 110, 120,000 by the end of the month here, possibly as well. Okay. But in the meantime, definitely wasn't a good feeling here compared to what it was last night. Everybody was joyous and celebrating and happy and yay, Bitcoin's above 100,000. Then we got rug pulled on it by the big guys. Okay. So that's it on that. One here, Bitcoin right now. Let's take a look at this really quick right here. This was Bitcoin up last night, was up 1.8. It's still up 0.19% here in the month of December. So we're still in the green, very light green, but we're still in the green. Let's get into the stories that we do have here as well. So Bitdeer announces November 2024 production and operations updates here. We have a couple of things to talk about here. So the Seal Miner A1 mass production of approximately 3.7 exahash mining rigs is on track with 0.1, so 100 petahash powered on and 400 petahash delivered for installation. And then 3 petahash is in transit to data centers and 2.6 is still in production right now. The Seal Miner 2, they have secured wafer capacity as of this report date, is expected to generate approximately 35 exahash in 2025, increased from 18 exahash, so that's nice there. Initial allocation of 30,000 units, about 7 exahash out of the 35 exahash of Seal A2 for external sale has been fully reserved by customers. So that's interesting to see who those customers might be. This allocation is subject to further increase depending on market conditions. Okay, so we'll see what they get from that. HPCI update here. Discussions are ongoing with multiple development partners and potential end users for selected cities or sites. Bitdeer AI Cloud Services deployed an early batch of NVIDIA H200s in the company's Tier 3 data center. So that's good, and expanded AI Cloud Services to United States and Holland. AI Cloud Services are now hosted from Singapore, Canada, United States, and Holland. So they're growing that out as well, so that's good there. So your client-hosted machines increased by 11,000 units or 2.6 exahash. So that's pretty good there. Those must be newer machines as well. And then going down here are their operation update for November. Proprietary hash rate was 8.8. I actually put them down at 8.4 here. Self-mining was 8.2 and cloud hash rate was 0.2. That's how I got the 8.4. And then delivered but not hashing, I didn't include that in there, the 0.4 exahash. Hosting was 11.9, so that is a little bit of an increase here from the 9.3 that they had. Bitcoin self-mined was 150, so that's down from 174. And Bitcoin held, so I don't know if this is new or I've just been missing this, but they're actually hodling a little bit of Bitcoin here. And if you look at the footnote number 3, you can see here that Bitcoin held do not include the Bitcoins from deposits of the customers. So it's just the Bitcoin that they basically generated from self-mining, it looks like. Okay. So that's it on that. Let's take a look at their numbers here for Bitdeer. Going up here, they have currently about 126 million shares outstanding, market cap 2.1 billion roughly. Their performance over the last 12 weeks has been actually really good. They're up 107% from 12 weeks ago, 88% from 8 weeks ago, 59% from 4 weeks ago, and 23% last week even. So they've been on a nice roll here recently. And you guys will be able to see why here in a second when I look at the institutions side of things. Current hash rate about 8.4, future hash rate 11. They're saying that they're going to be getting some more hash rate there, so I probably should update that, but we just don't know exactly how much they're going to be increasing. So we'll update that as best we can here. HODL now, we have 443. That's valued about 43 million. And then Bitcoin production here has been coming down for them, 150, right? They're not really keeping up with the network hash rate growth and everything else. That's contributable to why they are decreasing in Bitcoin, but the revenues are increasing because Bitcoin is going up. So revenues have increased to about 13 million here, 12.99 million. That is a nice small increase here from 11.4 the prior month. BTC HODL, we have that now as well. Hash rate difference, 8.4, so that does seem to be down from October where they were at 8.7 here a little bit. They keep swapping things between their different operations, self-mining, cloud hash rate, all that stuff. They seem to switch that around every once in a while, whatever they feel is more profitable for them to mine at that point. All right. BTC per exahash efficiency, 17.8. They're kind of average here across the board on that. And going down here, we'll get into these numbers here in a second here, but institutions increased nicely here. 112 institutions now They have 17.4 million shares owned by institutions, 19.9% owned by institutions. So I think that's one of the contributing factors why the stock has done pretty well here recently. And also could be retail as well, a smaller side of that, but I think the largest side of that is going to be the institutions. Almost 6 million shares being added to this past month alone. We still have 8 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, 0 hold, 0 underperform, 0 sells, and price targets increased also for them, for the high to 21, the average to 16.11, and the low to $14 on that one. For the month here, I had them operating for roughly, if you look at November, about 27 and a half days roughly. And that got us to the 12.985 million, which coincides with the average Bitcoin price for the month and the BTC that they mined here of 12.985. So we're pretty close on that as it is. All right. Now going up here, based on the numbers that we have currently, based on the last, I would say 3/4 of concrete numbers, right? And the current quarter that we're in is estimated. I have them between 1171 and 1756. I have them at a PE of 10, and my PE ratio is based on their growth. And I could probably increase that because they are looking to grow some more next year as well. So let's bump them up to 15 at that point, right? So now we have them between 1639 and 2459. They're at 1698. They're kind of fairly valued there. And then if we look at the revenues here for hosting and self-mining, all that stuff, which is estimated right now of November numbers times 12 months, I'm between 1968 and 2952. And I should pump that up to 15. There we go. Okay, so slightly undervalued here based on the previous numbers, but definitely undervalued based on going forward numbers between 2108 and 3162. And the institutions have them at 21. So that kind of coincides. If I had them at 10, I think it would be. Yeah, if I had them at 10, that's 21. So maybe that should be 10. Depending on the growth and when we get the growth, depending on where we are in the cycle and everything else. I'll leave it at 10 for now. Once we do get some more clarification on there, how much they're actually going to be increasing their hash rate for themselves, we might bump that up as well. All right, but that kind of gives you an idea, at least, as where things are at. What can I say about Bitdeer? Bitdeer has a lot of potential here going forward. They have a lot of megawatts in the making for them. A lot of it's going to be coming in the second half of 2025 and into 2026 as well. So if we have a similar cycle like we have had in the past, they are going to be towards the very end of that cycle, potentially getting more hash rate installed, and then in 2026 we might be already going into a bear market at that point as well. So something to consider there. But if it's an extended cycle, then they should be still fine on it. All right, that is it for them on that one. Let's get into CORZ Scientific here as well. So CORZ provided their update for November. Bitcoin self-mine was 314. That's down from the 369 that they had in October. Self-mining energized hash rate was 19.3. That's down a little bit from 19.7. I'm guessing they're moving machines around to build out the HPCI data centers there. And Bitcoin sold 272 as well. And that's basically it on them. Yeah, not much else as far as that is concerned. Yeah, so we'll just take a look at the numbers here that they do have, or that I have for them, for CORZ Scientific here. We go up top, they have about 279 million shares, market cap 4.7 billion here. Performance over the last 12 weeks has been really good, actually. It's been pretty good. 59% up from 12 weeks ago, 35 from 8 weeks ago, 5% from 4 weeks ago, and last week they were down just a little bit here, almost 2% roughly. Current hash rate about 19.3. They've talked in the past, I haven't heard any mention of it recently here, but they were talking about getting another, what was it, like 13 exahash, 15 exahash from Block, with Block's new machines. But I haven't heard anything about that recently here, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. They don't hodl anything, at least reported, but they might be hodling something here. I'm not sure. BTC production here has been coming down, as we've talked about as well, for some of these guys that are not growing their hash rate faster than the network hash rate increases happening, right, percentage-wise. So you're seeing that decline here, but the revenues are increasing because Bitcoin's going up in value. So they're at 27.18 million here for self-mining. Their hash rate has also been coming down as time has been going on, and that's because they're moving, machines around. I think maybe getting rid of some of the older machines as well. Bitcoin sold, how much they sold, 375. That's valued at 32 million here, and then BTC per exahash efficiency was about 16. So that's towards the lower end side of things on them. We'll get into these numbers here in a second. Institutions ratings also, and analyst ratings. This is huge for them. Look at this. 332 institutions now own them, 200 million shares. That's 71% of the company is owned by institutions. That's, I think, the largest number that we have here out of all these guys. And that's why they've been kind of on a steady trajectory to the upside. We have now 10 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, which is an increase, and then 0 holds, 0 underperforms, 0 sells. And the price targets are up to $26 here for the high. Average went up also to $19.92, and the low went up to $17 for them. Going down here, what they mined in November, I had them at 24.6 days. That's a little bit of improvement over the October numbers of 26. So nonetheless, it's a pretty good improvement here. I think maybe they could do the same thing in December as well. We'll leave it at 26. We'll see where they get to on that. But that got us to the 27.183 million based on Bitcoin average price. That got us to 27.183 million as well here. And then are they undervalued, overvalued right now? Based on the historical 3 quarters and the current quarter we're in, which is estimated in between 1105 and 1657, they're at 1694. They're slightly overvalued on that. But if you include, and we're including potentially the hosting revenue here, that's the 500 million roughly revenue they're going to be getting next year as well, right? It's probably not going to be 500 million if they start it up later on in the year, but we'll give it to them. I have them between 22.19 and 33.29. It's getting a little bit higher than what the analysts haven't on the high side. But overall, I think that's kind of where they probably might get to here in the next couple months, especially as they get closer to their HPCI business starting to generate revenue for them from CoreWeave. And they could possibly even go higher than that as it is on top of that. So something to be thoughtful there. What can I say about them? Growth, would like to see more growth in the HPCI business would be one thing also, growth in that, but mainly Bitcoin mining business. They do have some older generation miners here. They were able to get some newer ones here a little bit where they have, let me see here, approximately 6.4 exahash of the newer machines roughly. And then they have a lot of these older machines here, which we've already reduced a bunch here. We got 10 exahash here, and we got, I think, like 3.2 exahash here, so about 13. I'd like to see them definitely get these swapped out sometime in the near future as well. All right, that's it on CORZ. Let's get into HUT 8 here really quick. So HUT 8 also provided their operation update for November here, and here's what we got. I can't really highlight these because they provide these in images for some reason. Not sure why they do that. Why can't they use just regular tables or divs? But it is what it is. So here's what we have here. Total hash rate under management was 21 exahash. Deployed miners was 56,000. Deployed hash rate was 5.7. This is for their self-mining and part of the JV, I believe, as well. Bitcoin produced here was 94 BTC. That's down from the 100 BTC that they had prior month. Bitcoin on balance sheet was 9,122. So that increased slightly here from the prior month of 9,110. Hash rate under management was 16.4. Hosting was 8.4 as well. Going down here, you can see all their sites here, what services they provide, and things like that. Going down here, we have some footnotes. Okay, so this one was interesting here. So on November 26, Ionic, provided notice that it was terminating its management services agreement with subsidiary of HUT 8, the manager, effective December 10th. So that's coming up next week. The company believes that Ionic's claims supporting the termination of the managed services agreement are meritless, and the company will vigorously enforce its rights and the rights of the manager. So yeah, there's gonna be a court battle there happening. And if you remember, Ionic was the one that spun out from what was that? Oh, that was I'm drawing a blank right now. You guys know which one I'm talking about. It was the too many names in my head right now. It was the one that went belly up. You guys know which one I'm talking about. Put it down in the comments. That would help out tremendously. Also refresh my memory. But I have the name in my head, but I just can't get it. And it'll probably pop into my head here in a little bit here. And then another footnote here. Bitcoin produced net of 50% share of King Mountain JV held by HUT 8's joint venture partner was 79 BTC during the November and 83 for that one. Celsius, thank you very much. Daily Life with Kelly. So thank you. Yeah, Celsius. Yes. Celsius was the one that went bankrupt, and part of the proceedings was to build out their, they had like 100,000 machines or something like that, 120,000 machines, whatever it was, sitting in boxes, not being energized. So this was part of the deal. But they were working with HUT 8 to get those racks stacked and deployed for them. So not sure what the merits or what the claims are there, why they're terminating it. Maybe they think they can do it themselves for a lot less, especially since they're operating with older machines there. Maybe that's the case there. Not sure. All right. So, I mean, definitely Hut 8 has a lot of stuff going on. It's a little challenging to keep track of it. I mean, you can see here JVs, managed services as well. So, yeah, they got a lot on their plate here. They're also definitely looking to get into HPCI business, right? They got an investment from Co2 for $150 million. They got Anthony Pompiliano also backing them, pumping them, whatever you want to call it. So it's just a lot going on there with them. And we've seen also a sizable increase in the institution side of things as well for them. But here's what we have for Hut 8 right now. Hut 8 is currently 93 million shares outstanding, market cap about 2.5 billion. The performance here has been really, really good here over the last 12 weeks. Up 149% from 12 weeks ago, up 139 from 8 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago, they were up 43%, and last week they were up 10%, right? What is that? Why is the stock driving up so fast, so quickly? It's not on their self-Bitcoin mining prowess. I can guarantee you that. I think it's based on the HPCI potential there. So take that for what it's worth. Current hash rate 5.6, future hash rate about supposed to get to 9 based on the orders that they have there. They also have an order with, not an order, but they have an agreement with Bitmain for, I think it's 15 exahash of Bitmain's machines that Hut 8 does have the ability to possibly buy those out in the future, but hasn't done anything yet. Bitcoin HODL 9.122 thousand of that. That's valued at about 888 million right now. That's 34% of their HODL to market cap ratio, and one share has about $9.49 of HODL in it right now. Bitcoin production here, you can see, has been kind of flat, more or less. It's been bouncing between 107 and 110. They're down to 94 right now as it is. Monthly BTC revenue with JV was about 8.14 million, so that's increasing there, even though Bitcoin production is coming down. Bitcoin HODL, you can see that they've been kind of flat here, more or less, across since January of this year, right around the 9,100 mark, roughly. Hash rate difference, hash rate has pretty much stayed flat here. It's come down in April, but bounced back up a little bit here, and that's been staying flat. What else do we have here? BTC per exahash efficiency, always pretty low. They're also operating on older machines and things like that. They haven't changed those out yet. They are going to be doing that, though, which is good. We'll take a look at the numbers here in a second. And then institutions here. Institutions increased nicely as well for them. 259 now. Shares went up a little bit here to 57 million, almost 58. Percentage is now 62% owned by institutions. We still have 3 strong buy ratings, 3 buy ratings, 0 hold 0 and perform 0 sells. Price target, check this out, went up to $35 for the high from 22. That is a huge increase. Average also went up to $31 from $16, and the low went up from $13 to $28. What is driving that? Like I said, it's not their Bitcoin mining prowess, it's their HPCI potential. That's what's driving it. So that's kind of what we're looking at there. Going down here, what do we have them operating for the month of November, roughly 27 days, it looks like. That is an improvement over October, so that's good there, even though they actually mined less. But revenue's definitely increased on that to 8.137, and that's kind of what we have them here on this one as well. So that kind of works out there. And then where do I see them being valued? Well, if we look at their last 3 quarters of numbers plus the current quarter that we're in, I'm between 546 and 819. This is based on their self-mining. And then I believe I included here their managed services revenue as well for the latest quarter times 12 months, along with the values for November. And I'm between 967 and 1450 with a P of 10. Like I said, that not a lot of growth there in Bitcoin mining hash rate going forward. They do have the potential, like I said, about 15 exahash if they buy that out from Bitmain. But other than that, they're looking to get to about 9 exahash here, so not a lot of growth. So I do think, I don't know where they're getting the value, or at least the analysts, how they're valuing it. And I don't know if the analysts, it could be really a game. I mean, if you deal with the analysts or the companies, the banks, all that stuff, the investors and things like that, if you play their games and you make them a lot of money through deals and I'm not talking about just Hut 8 here, I'm talking about all the companies here, I think, that you're going to be rewarded with them buying your shares and all that stuff happening here. So that's the only thing I can explain it. Unless you guys have other theories on it, let me know. I'd definitely love to hear it. But that's kind of what we have here on that one. For them, like I always said, for them is just getting newer machines as fast as they can. They seem to be on the track now to getting newer machines, which is good. And yeah, we'll see how they do going forward. And we'll see what kind of HPCI business they get also going forward. All right. So that's it for that. Let me see here. A couple new things I want to take a look at here. The market cap. Okay, so I've added two new charts here. This is the market cap as of today for the miners. Shares outstanding as of the latest reported quarterly numbers, right? But here's what I added here. So I took the last 3 months of revenue and divided it by the market cap to get a multiple there. And I also did it on the 12 months, just to kind of see how they're being valued on their revenue for like the last 3 months and then like the last 12 months. If you just look at that way. And it's kind of similar to what we see here with the enterprise metrics as well. We'll look at those here in a second. But you can see that here that Bitfarms is getting the lowest multiple on the 3 months. They're only getting a multiple of 20. Hive 23, right? Cleanspark 32. Cleanspark 32, Riot 40, IREN 43, Mara 50, Bitdeer 62 along with HUT 8, Cypher 63, CORZ 65, and TerraWolf 105. And that's just really, really high. All right. Then if you look at the 12 months revenues divided by the market cap and what multiplier are you getting at that point? Well, you're getting 4.2 for Hive, so Hive is a little bit lower here. Bitfarms, second spot now with 5. Cleanspark with 9.4. Core with 11. Bitdeer with 13. And it looks like, because I updated the pricing on it here recently. Let me go down here, update this as well. What multiple are we getting? Sort of ascending. There we go. Okay, so now it's all in line. Bitdeer at 13.1, Riot at 13.8, Cypher 13.9, Mar at 14.1, HUD at 15, and then TerraWolf again at 21.9. It's kind of interesting to take a look at that based on just the revenues, dividing it by the market cap of these companies, and you can see what kind of multiple are getting based on that alone. And if you look at the enterprise metrics here, and I have to update this chart as well on these guys because I updated the pricing. Bear with me for a second here while we do that. Ascending as well. We want to do this one ascending, okay? Because prices changed today on us. They went to the downside, so you can see that Hive, Marathon, Bitfarms, Riot, Cleanspark are undervalued for the current hash rate compared to exahash, or not exahash, for exahash for enterprise value. HUT 8 is coming out valued the highest here on that. Future-wise, you got Hive and Bitfarms, Cleanspark, Marathon as well, IREN, Riot being very lowly valued on that compared to like TerraWolf here for future. We're looking at 290 million per exahash for them. Core I can understand because of the huge contract that I have with Core. I've talked about that in the past as well. And then HUT, 212 million. So you can see what some of these guys are getting really, really heavily overweighted on some of these metrics if you look at them, if all things were equal. But we know that not all things are equal. And that's why I'm thinking that some of these guys that work with these lenders and everything else, and they're just getting like a little bit more preferential treatment, I'm thinking. Right? But we'll see. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just my own head trying to come up with solutions of why things are not working out the way we thought they would work out based on, operations prowess and things like that. All right, but that's it. Let's get into your guys' Q&A side of things here. And as always, spreadsheets are available to my Patreon members. Link is down in the description. You guys know the drill. All right, let's get into the Q&A, and we're going to call it a day. So let's see what we got here. Questions as always, preface them with a question mark or something like that, or with a Q before it so I know what's going on there. And I'm going to go up, see if I can find some questions here. See if we have anything going on, and I'll come back to everything. So give me a little bit here, but we will get through all the questions like we always do. All right, let's see. I think I will just start right here from Ron. So Ron asked question, which situation would you increase your position in Bitfarms? So what would need to happen in order for me to increase my position in Bitfarms? I would need to see them come out with press releases saying that they're going to be getting their hash rate, increasing the hash rate faster, right? And higher, possibly. That would possibly be a good sign for me to possibly get back into them some more. I still own a bunch of shares with them, though. All right. Which month do you think miner stocks will start moving like last cycle? If historically we were looking at that, we'd be like right now in this month, and it was probably late last month as well that they should start moving. So we're really looking like right now into January, February. Those are the months I'd be looking for them to move. Okay. Let's see here. Miners knew the BTC pump was fake. Possibly. Yeah, I mean, it seems like they were going down before Bitcoin was going down, and they were going up before Bitcoin was going up. So possibly. Or at least the mining stocks. Sometimes they do front run it in both directions. Okay, let's see. Kind of makes you wonder if Cleanspark is cooked, sell and move on, or hold for next quarter. I think the best is still yet to come for a lot of these guys here. So I'm still holding on and possibly buying the dips if I can. Let's see here. Mawson back to 2. That, I don't know. I know it came back up today quite nicely. It was up, what, like 90% or something? Yeah, 94% today. Went back up to $1.32. It was down huge yesterday at 64. There was a news story about bankruptcy filed in, I think, Australia or something like that, which some have pointed out that was their previous owner, previous CEO. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, so that seemed like it was FUD, and the stock definitely bounced from it. Let's see. Your question, has Hive released their November numbers? No, they have not yet. Neither has, surprisingly, IREN has not yet. So I think those are the only two that I'm waiting on to release their numbers here. Let me see here. Is that correct? Yeah, Hive. I'm waiting on Hive, and then IREN. That's it. Those are the only two left that I need. All right. Let's see if we got any questions. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Hope you are fine. Yeah, I'm fine. You know, I'm used to these kind of swings in Bitcoin and the miners. Promising day, but after a few hours, rice again, as well as we say in Portuguese. How much do you think these shorts will persist? Thanks, Seb. I don't know. You know, they're going to try to squeeze out as much money as they can to the upside and on the downside of these things. So I don't know. Eventually, I think they will relent or relinquish the shorts, but I just don't know when. Okay, let's see here. Isn't Bitdeer one of the more shorted miners too? Shorts will get wrecked on it. Love the deer. My latest data on the shorts. Let's see what we have here. Where's my shorts data? My shorted. Okay, if we look at it here, yeah, Bitdeer based on the float here, and this is based on. So let's look at this. This is based off of the report that came out for 11/15. So it's about 3 weeks old now, right? That might have changed. But as a percentage of average float shorted, yeah, Bitdeer was the highest here, followed by Marathon, Cleanspark, TeraWolf as well. And then you got everybody else down the list. So we'll probably get an update here next week, I think. We'll get the update for 11/31 data. Well, then we'll cover it then at that point as well, see how things have changed for us. Okay. All right. Hi, Seb. The big guys keep shorting miners until the end of the bull run, even if these miners are extremely profitable. Who can buy enough to make them cover their shorts? Honestly, I think this quarter was going to be really good for them, but I think each quarter going forward is going to be even better for them, and they're going to have to switch sides on a bit because they're going to be just so much more profitable. Their revenues are going to be going up. Their profit margins are going to be so much better. I still believe they're going to switch. I'm not the only one that thinks the same thing here. There's quite a few people that also think the same thing. People that have been in the cycles before as well and have probably better insight into some of these companies than I do even. All right, let's see. Celsius, Mashinsky Sensing is April 8th. Wow, that's still a ways away. But yeah, that was from Celsius there. All right. Do you think this month miners will get better production and with that squeeze the shorts? It may not be better production if they're not growing faster than network hash rate, but they will have better revenues like they did the last couple of months, right? We've seen revenues increasing even though production has been kind of coming down on some of these guys, especially the ones that are still growing like IREN, Cleanspark, Marathon, Riot, right? Those guys should generate a heck of a lot more revenue here because the average price of Bitcoin right now is for the month. Let me see my numbers here on that as well. Where are we at right now? So let me see. Bitcoin average price right now is 96,000 for the month. Compare that to last month, which was on an average price of 86,000, right? So that's about $10,000 more in revenue per coin that you're getting there. That's definitely going to amount to quite a bit there. All right, that was that. What else we got here? Okay. How much do you think the profitability affects BTC miners doing well? Analysts have Cleanspark at a forward PE of 5, so that makes me bullish. Thanks for the update. I think even the forward PE of 5 is low. I think it should be higher than that. But how much does the profitability affect the BTC miners doing well? A lot, right? The more profitable they become, the more revenue they generate per earnings per share. So they should catch a higher bid going forward. The people seem to be dumping Cleanspark and moving to IREN per latest trends. Is there any reason for that? Anything to worry on Cleanspark at this point? No. The only thing that the trend is IREN has been doing better as far as performance possibly if I recall. Yeah, IREN has been doing better share gains wise. And they have also improved on their growth targets for early next year as well, getting to 50 exahash potentially by the end of the first half. So that's kind of keeping up with Cleanspark as well. But Cleanspark, has done a fantastic job here as well. And they have they have a HODL position, whereas IREN does not. But IREN has maybe a potential for HPCI play. And the thing with the comment from Den at their conference call, that like 2 hours before the conference call, they had a email from a hyperscaler valued at over $1 trillion that they're interested in their Sweetwater site. So I think that's also contributing to that potentially. All right, what else do we have here? Okay. Is it true that the miner stocks won't really move until the crypto alt season or late in the BTC cycle? No, typically they move along with Bitcoin. If we look at prior cycles as well, we saw the miners starting to move here towards the end of November and then into December and then like the following next 9 months. Or actually, there was that cycle they moved through April where we had a double top, right? April was the first top, and then we had a top in like October. So a lot of those guys ran within like those 4 months. They ran quite heavily, and then they just never went back up towards the other part of the top cycle. Okay. Seb, it feels like minor individual performance, hash rate, etc. doesn't mean much when they all go down together, even when BTC was up. What is happening? So tired. What to do? Shorts, right? We're having people that do this for a living. They're hedging their bets on one thing and they're shorting another thing. That's kind of what we're getting with the miners here. So, I still expect them to do much better going forward, but it's going to be a bumpy ride for sure. All right. Question: when will be the time 90% of miners surpass through high time frame resistance? What do you think about WAGMI and IWM as good indicators? I don't know. I don't really look at those guys. WAGMI is WGMI is an ETF that has miners and other things in there as well. IWM, I'm not sure what that one is. I'll have to look that one up, but I'm not sure. All right. Let's see here. I'm getting a little worried about seeing altcoins going higher, miners barely moving. I wouldn't get too worried about it. We just got to be patient. They're trying to wear us out, I think. Trying to get us to capitulate, which I for heck am not going to do that. 97 for 20 Empire says, please say your Cleanspark. I would like some more. Yeah. Let's see here. How much did Hot 8 dilute this year? Based on their numbers here, we can look at it. Let's see here. There's our figures. I probably should have that in a chart someplace, how much each of these companies dilute. They didn't dilute much. They diluted only about 3 million here that I can see here. They were at 90 million here with the first quarter reported as a combined company, 91 million the following quarter, 93. So they haven't diluted much on that. But that is a result of them selling a lot of their Bitcoin, right? Because they were selling, they didn't have to, because you can see here how much they've been selling. They were selling, let me see, the first quarter was January, February, March. They sold a lot of Bitcoin here, it looks like. What they were generating here, and then kind of steady sells going forward. So that's kind of kept them from having to dilute at that point. All right, back to Q&A. All right. Okay. Seb, at this time, do you feel like 5x from the current prices for miners will happen at all? Like miners have become sticky to their base price and not moving no matter how high BTC goes? Yeah, I mean, based on the current trend that we're seeing, I would think maybe you're right. But I still think that in the next 9 months, they will still do 3 to 5x. I still think that's the case for these guys, especially if Bitcoin gets to 150,000, 200,000. I mean, just run the math on that alone. If you run it, let me pull this up. Even let's pick somebody like I don't know. Let's do IREN for giggles, right? Here's IREN, and we can do the math on it, right? We know they're going to be growing their hash rate and everything else. So if you just get Bitcoin, let me see, they mine 439. Let's say they get to like 500 BTC per month here with Bitcoin at 150,000. What does that equate to in revenue? Gotta run my calculator here really quick. Bear with me. Calculator. So 500 times 150,000. We have them generating 75 million in revenue, right? get that up Bitcoin to a 200,000, then we're at 100 million in revenue, a run rate of 1.2 billion a year. You think they're going to be valued at only 2 billion or 3 billion, 3x on top of their revenues? I highly doubt that. Or at least I have a hard time believing that they would at that point. So that's kind of the way I look at it, where they're growing and everything else, and where Bitcoin could possibly go. And if Bitcoin goes like to 250,000, yeah, I mean, we're going to do probably even better than we think. But yeah, we're in this tough stage right now where it's they're being suppressed. I don't know how else to call it. Let's see, Q&A. I kind of came out of Celsius and Machine is going to jail. Yes. Well, I would think so, possibly with that one. All right. Let's see. Current mining prices are about the same now. When BTC was 30,000, how does it make sense, even having considered also last cycle miners moved very closely with BTC thoughts? Yeah, I mean, the hedging was a big part of it, I think. And then I think the institutions have gotten smarter, the big guys, where they're hedging their bets. So that's, I don't think we saw that as much last cycle than we are seeing it right now on these guys. And eventually, like I keep saying, the profits on these guys is going to be crazy. They're going to have to switch. Okay. Do you think the top altcoins will likely do even better than miners going forward these next 9 to 12 months? That I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to the alts, what's going on there. I know that they like to pump as well when Bitcoin's pumping. But then you can also get rug pulled on some of these guys here. So I'm weary about alts going forward. I do own some alts right now, but I will be getting out of those. So I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see on that one. And then, let's see. Yeah, I know you were burnt before, but I'm asking about now going forward when alts run. Yeah, I just don't know. Okay, let's see here. 12 December, Microsoft will decide if they want to invest in Bitcoin. This has to be a good catalyst if they want. Yeah, if they go for it, they get approval from the shareholders there, then that will definitely be good. All right. Question. It seems some miners are moving mostly on hype and not on their performance and balance sheet. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, I see the same thing. I see some of these guys being way overvalued from they really should be on fundamentals and everything else. So it's based on, people don't like me using the word hype, but they want possibility of HPCI business there, I guess you could say. Question, I'm thinking of getting into some top alts, which might do a 10x or more. Do you think this is a stupid idea since the top miners will make at least a 5 or 6x with much less risk? Please thoughts. I mean, that's going to be your call, right? Depending which ones you get into. I know I got burned on it last time. I'm still making up the difference on it this time around. The best ones that I wouldn't say they're alts, but the best ones for me have always been Bitcoin and Ethereum. We're just holding on to those and buying some more of those guys. But the other ones I got into, I can't remember what the name of it now was. Firepin, I think it was one of them. If you guys recall that. I got it on a pre-sale on that one. And then when it went live, it just went to the downside quick. I think that was one of Firepin. I think it was one of them. Lost a bunch in that one. And you got to know what you're doing there, which ones you're getting into. So I would be cautious. Right, invest in what you think you're able to lose, basically. All right, yeah, I saw that President-elect Trump appoints David Sachs as White House cryptocurrency and AI czar. Yeah, I saw it. I think that might be a good get there. All right. D-Roy says we need an old-fashioned AMC run on over the shorts. Yeah, but there's not a short squeeze in there. I mean, most of these guys are only shorting like 20%. Of the float there. I think you need a little bit more shorts in there to get a nice short squeeze on it. All right. Will Bitfarms close the gap among the other miners as far as price performance? I would think so, but time will tell. I still own a bunch of shares there, but we'll see. Okay. Let's see. Matt at Cleanspark reposted this comment about different strategies now being adopted among the miners. Would you mind comment on this? Yeah, I saw that. That was, when was that? Today, that they have different strategies, that there's more, what do you say? That there's more opportunities or more diverging ways to get capital basically right now. So I agree with him there, right? There's a lot more. You have the convertible debts that you can use. You can use also something if you maybe hodl Bitcoin. You can maybe do something like that where we have Bitfarms doing the with their Bitcoin. What do they call it? I'm drawing a blank. Oh, geez, that's not synthetic hodl, right? You can do that as well. So there's many different things you can possibly do. It'll be interesting to see if they, release something that they're doing something interesting. All right. Could you please explain why the bull run happens 6 to 8 months after the halving? Is there a technical reason or is it just market sentiment? Thanks. I think it's market sentiment more than anything else. And yeah, it's usually about 6 to 8 months after the halving event, which we are now getting into that range. And yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's part of it is also the halving event brings down the supply, cuts the supply in half of Bitcoin being produced every day. I think it takes maybe that amount of time before that supply reaches maybe the markets and exchanges, all that stuff, right before it gets crunched down enough to where it then starts to go back up. Not the supply, but the price of Bitcoin and everything else along with it. Let's see. Any news on BlockMiner I'm missing? I haven't seen anything recently from them. But there might be something else, but I haven't seen anything recently. Okay. Let's see here. Zoom out to the Bitfarms weekly chart. Pattern looks ripe to break out. Holding. Okay, very nice. I hope that does happen. Let's see. Question, comment. Miners didn't move today, and now there's zero reaction from the miners after hours. Could it be that the smart money already anticipated this dump? Maybe. But it wasn't a big dump. It was, yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Miners from running Bitcoin. Yeah, we've seen that before as well. Excuse me. Let's see here. Hey, Seb, any chance we could get you to open the charts and have a look in detail at how the miners moved back in 2011 or 2021? Sorry. On that one, let me see. I don't know if I have the data going back to 2021. The furthest data I have here, and depending what you want to look at here, let me see here. Where would that be? Miner comparison. I have my data going back to, I mean, we can maybe look at the charts, the actual stock charts. Let me see, unhide rows. I do have, okay. So on here, I do have data for the miners going back to August of 2022. As far as where Bitcoin was at, I don't have their price where they were at that point, nor do I have their like market caps or anything like that, but I do have what they were producing at that point, and also what their hash rate was probably at that point as well. But if you wanted to take a look at the miners themselves, as far as what they did last run, I know we didn't have a lot of these guys here that are here now, like Wolf, Cypher wasn't around, Bitdeer wasn't around also. Who else? Cleanspark, I mean, really just became a miner back in that cycle in 2021. So we only had a couple miners here that were at that point. I know IREN wasn't there, yeah. Riot was there, Mawson was there, Hive, Hut was there, and Bitfarms were there at that point. Right, so you can see here, if we go, let's just take Mawson, because Mawson was probably one of the better well-knowns here. Go to daily here on this one, and if we go back to the prior halving, let's see if it loads for me. Come on, there it goes. Okay, so if we go back to the prior halving event, which was, let me see if I have this marked, probably not, 2021, so that happened in 2020, right? That happened in 2020, here you go. So that event happened somewhere around here in May, right? At that point, where were they at? Let me see, that's automatic. Yeah, it's automatic. Is that, yep, okay. But you can see the gains that we had here in them, and they started running right around November, right? They came back down through December, the beginning, a couple of weeks, the first 2 weeks, they came down. So we're kind of seeing a similar event happening here with the miners right now. And then they took off here towards the second half of December, looks like, they came down a little bit towards the end. So we had a sell-off here towards the end of December, like I've been kind of talking about. And January was a huge month for them here. And then after that, they peaked here in April. So if we just look at the timeline here, let's just go from like November, from where they started running here, all the way up to the top here, which was in April. Within a couple months, they were up 2,464%. So that's one of them only, right? Marathons. Take a look at Riot here really quick as well. We're going to have it at that same chart here. Where is this at? Oh, come on, load. Why is Trading view so slow today. Okay, let's see here. This is December 2022. September, we got to go back further. Come on, you can do it. There you go. All right. So again, November here, right? And they went up in a matter of weeks and months here from roughly here at $3 and something. At that point, they went all the way up to $75. So that was a 2,200% increase here in roughly 65 bars, 98 days of trading, it looks like. Or 65 trading days, 98 total days. So you can see how that has played out over last cycle at least, right? And it's right around the same time frame where we are at right now. December, going into December, we're going up, and then early December we came down, and then we went back up here, and then down towards the end of January here, it looks like, and then way up here. So, I mean, this is the part where we get the FOMO, right? When these guys start reporting some of their quarterly results and things like that, where they're making buku bucks at that point, and putting out their growth targets for next year as well. And this is where things usually take off. But at least they did last cycle. If we go back to the 2017, okay, so here I have the mark here, which I think was, this was the halving event here for them. Riot, I don't think, was mining back in 2017 when we had that cycle. Let's see if we can go back far enough. There might have been something else at that point altogether. I thought they came in like 2018 for that cycle, because here's the 2017 cycle as well. And you can see here that they, let's see here, September, right, October, they started going up here. They were flat for October. November started going back up. And then they really took off here again in December of 2021. Sorry, 2017, which was the peak, right? So we saw that happening towards the peak here at that time. So I still expect the miners to do very, very well going forward. We just need that FOMO, and we need those shorts to convert into buyers and going long on them for at least a couple months. And at that point, we're off to the races, I think. But we'll see. There's a lot more happening here this cycle than we've had in prior cycles. We've got the ETFs. We've got MicroStrategy. We got companies buying more and more Bitcoin, like Marathon. We've got HPCI potential hype, I like to call it, with all these guys here. That's taken some of that maybe powder out of some of the miners that don't have HPCI. Time will tell on that. I'm still really high conviction that the miners will do well going forward. But it is definitely challenging, and it is challenging my thought process on that, that's for sure. All right, let's go back here, Q&A. I hope that kind of helps. All right. How high can Bitdeer go this cycle? Oh, man, I really don't know on Bitdeer. They have so many business segments and everything else. I think they can do very well. Also, if they get also more customers buying their machines, I think that will be a big boom to their revenue. And them also being able to mine or generate the miners themselves, cut down on the cost, that could be a huge win for them as well. But I think they might do very well. It just depends on how fast they can build those things and how fast they can get them installed in the sites as well. Let's see here. DMG ran 5 cents to $5 last cycle. Soluna and Cathedra is a similar position now. The hype and FOMO will push beyond technicals if history repeats. Yeah. All right. Question. Seb, I think given how little, well, I'm not sure what that means. I'm sure there might be some more to that. All right. Let's see. Did you get a chance to look at some of the info posted to last video about convertible bonds? I understand about 65% of it, but seems brilliant. Yeah, I did. I talked about it yesterday. I talked with Penny Ether from Twitter. We've been, I guess you could say, friends for about a year now, I think, since we started communicating and things like that on there. And he has more knowledge of those than I do. So I picked his brain on it, and he reassured me that those things are good, how they more or less work, how they hedge the things in there as well to maybe limit the amount of dilution that could possibly happen. So I do think those are good things there. I still need to probably do more research into it all. And I think my stumbling block is I haven't done options in the past. So that's where I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around how that all works, because it's all basically options based on that one. Question, BTC from 60 to 100,000 now, but miners are not moving. Frustrating. Yes. More of a comment, but yes, it is frustrating. Eventually they will. All right. Given given how little Cleanspark moved even with BTC at 100,000, I can't imagine Cleanspark will get to more than 25 even with BTC at 150,000. $25 at 150,000, yeah, I would see that somewhere around there, $25 to $30. I think we needed to go up higher, closer to probably 180,000, 200,000 for us to get to like, at that point, past 40, 50, $60, somewhere around there. So if I have to invest 2,000 in only one big miner with the goal of max gain at current prices, should I go in Cleanspark, IREN, Riot, or Mar? Oh gosh, that I don't know. Right, at current prices, it's going to be a crapshoot, and as far as which one's going to do better, you might be better off just putting the names on a dartboard and throwing a dart at them. Really, I don't know. I would think the ones that are still growing nicely, great operations, that those would merit a higher return or higher gains. But what I think doesn't always, play out in the market. So we shall see. All right. Let's see. So looking at CORZ release, it seems they may not be holding Bitcoin versus selling it all. Did you interpret this way? I joined late, so maybe you covered this. Well, they're getting Bitcoin. It's always been a question mark for me for them. If we look at CORZ here really quick, then we probably should look at their numbers here. So here's a report, right? Self-mined Bitcoin was 314. Hosting Bitcoin earned by customers was 29. So did they get 29 of that? Is that theirs? Let's look at the fine print here, number 2. Down here, hosting Bitcoin earned represents estimated Bitcoin rewards earned by customers, owned miners installed and operated by Core in our data center, including Bitcoin rewards earned by customers and paid to the company pursuant to proceeds sharing agreements. Okay, so they get 29 and they get a portion of that. But nonetheless, they still, okay, so 314, they only sold 217. We know that they mined 314 for themselves. So they sold 272. That's 28. 28, 32, 42 Bitcoin that they still have left over roughly. Where did that go? Right. And they don't report it. So I don't see them selling everything. It's just like a little, I'm not sure where that's going, whether it's going into a little black hole or something like that, but I doubt that. It's got to be going someplace where I think they might be holding it onto it. But yeah, it's a little bit confusing there on their part. I wish they would just put out there the BTC HODL, how much they have, how much they don't have, or just how much they have would be best on it. All right. All right, question. I'm thinking of just alts in the top 50 coins by market cap, so no rug pull, scam risk. Any thoughts if you believe there is more potential for profit like 10x in these top altcoins or hold miners? I don't know about the alts. I don't know how much they've already run up. I know some of them have done really well. Could they run up even more? Possibly. I just don't know. So yeah, I would, if I always get into alts, I'll diversify between, Bitcoin, Ethereum, alts, and the miners as well. MicroStrategy in there, throw that in there as well, because you just never know. Okay. Let's see. Question. Considering diminishing gains, I'm thinking cycle peak Q1, $25. Thoughts? I think that's too low. I really do. I mean, we already got to 25 with them having less hash rate, and yeah, I just don't see that, or at least I don't think it will. I think that would be too low. I think that big dump brings biggest rip. I added. I think the biggest dump brings biggest rip. I added. Okay, so you bought on today's dip. Okay. All right. Question: do you see Cleanspark to reach 50-60 in this cycle? We are all hoping with different BTC targets and miners' performance. BTC is hovering around 100,000 by miners up and down. Yeah, I still think, and my thought process behind the fact that the revenues are going to be increasing so much more as the Bitcoin goes up to 150,000, 180,000, 200,000, whatever it might be. But the revenues are just going to be so much better that I would think that they should be valued much more than where they are right now. All right. All right. Question: do you trade in equity outside the crypto space? It would be cool to get your perspective on maybe another channel. I don't. The reason I don't is because I like the fact that the miners provide so much information. I was looking to get into like the looking to get the EV space probably about a year or two ago, I think. At that point, I was looking to get into it. where I could run some numbers on like Rivian, Tesla, some other ones that are out there as well. And you have all that data coming in here. You can kind of see where things are trending for them. You can maybe see what's going on, but the miners I just love because you get the data every month. And we can see how they're doing. Okay. Seb, is it not possible for some of the cash that was invested in miners in previous cycles is now going to ETFs now? Could that be also a reason for them not going up? Thanks. Possibly, but I mean, the ETFs are an easy way for people to get on board. People that like volatility, which you get a lot of volatility with miners, they're going to be in them each cycle, because you do get the volatility and you do get those huge gains potentially as well. So I don't think that you're going to do that. I think the people that are getting to ETFs are kind of more, maybe a little bit less risk averse. I mean, it's still risky getting into Bitcoin, but you're not putting in, 50% or 100% of your portfolio into those things. So you're putting in much lower numbers into the ETFs as well. Yeah, that's kind of the way I think about it. Time will tell, I guess. Does Riot's business benefit from having inside information on Bitfarms? They are not supposed to have any inside information on them. They are a major shareholder there, but they shouldn't really have inside information, I don't think. A question, what are your thoughts on Cleanspark's topping out so early last cycle? Well, last cycle, you got to remember also that Cleanspark became a miner in January of 2021. Bitcoin peaked basically in April of 2021 and then went down through the summer months and then went back up for a double top in, when was it, October, November, whenever it peaked again. Cleanspark at that point in January was only at like 100 petahash. I know that they installed quite nicely through that year, got to like 1.52 exahash, I think, by the end of the year or something like that. So they weren't really a true miner yet at that point. So I wouldn't look at that cycle for them as a historical cycle for them. And then let's see, do we need to be worried about them topping out early again this cycle? Yeah, okay, so that's kind of why. Okay, by the way, your microphone volume is always fine. I appreciate that, thank you. All right. Seb, are you still optimistic about Bitfarms and your views on Soluna? Okay, I'm still optimistic on Bitfarms. That's why I only sold a third of my shares there. I still have 2/3 holding on to it. So I'm still optimistic for them going in the long run. And then as far as Soluna is interesting to me because they were in trouble last time during the bear market here just recently. But they've turned things around and they're working with partnerships and things like that. I don't know how well that's going to be valued. I know they've done here pretty well recently, but they're also smaller and they have these kind of interesting deals happening for them. So the partnerships always make it a little bit more messy because then do you own 50% of it or not? If you own less than 50%, you don't get to report it as revenue, right? It goes on as something else. That always makes it a little bit more challenging. Let's see. Jason says, hello, Seb from Texas. How you doing? Thank you for your time and research. You're very welcome. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. How high Bitfarms can go this cycle? I mean, depending where Bitcoin goes, right? I was thinking originally that Bitfarms can go to between like $10 and $20. That's with Bitcoin getting to about 180,000, something like that. Now with Bitcoin possibly going up higher, they could possibly go higher, but they've also let investors down a little bit with not reaching their goals to 12 exahash by the third quarter, not getting to 21 exahash by the end of the year. So we'll have to wait and see how that one plays out. But I still think, we might be able to get to like $8 to $10, maybe a little bit more than that, which still would be great for me because I still have a really low cost average on them. Let's see. Have you ever thought about swing trading the miners, dedicated an account to swing trade? For example, Bitfarms roughly tops at 230 and drops to 2. Yeah, I just don't have the time for it. That's one of the reasons why I just like to dollar cost average into these guys. If I had more time, then yeah, I would possibly look into swing trading. I've tried swing trading in the past, but other things I didn't do well. I don't know whether I was lacking knowledge. I have a little bit more knowledge on how the markets work and everything else. That could be part of it. But I think time is also part of it. You need to be basically staring at the screen there, looking at what's going on with it all the time. And I just don't have the time for it. Let's see, hello, sub question. If Bitcoin stays around 90 to 100,000 for the next 3 to 6 months, do you think the miners will go up due to their low cost and profitability? No. They're going to be following Bitcoin at that point. But I don't expect Bitcoin to stay around these price levels for the next 3 to 6 months. Hi, Seb. 3 questions. When do you see the top of miners? It's going to be somewhere in the 9 to 12 months here going forward. Where the top of Mara in is dollar-wise, I'm guessing it's probably going to be north of $60, $70, depending where Bitcoin goes. And when the bull run starts for the miners, it should be starting like right now and getting into next year as well. BTC all-time high but most miners all-time high minus 30%. Yes. So we looked at the charts here a little bit ago. We saw what happened last cycles, and you could see we're kind of acting the same way like we are right now. Next question here. It seems Bitfarms, Cleanspark, and IREN can easily do 5x from here, but the question is, what percentage change do you think this will actually happen? 50, 75, 85, or 90%? I think like 85, 90%, if not higher a little bit. I'm still really convinced that these things will do well. But that might change if we're still at the end of the first quarter in 2025, and the miners are still at the same levels we are, or lower. Well, that might change at that point. Let's see. By the way, did you have your dance? Did I miss it? Yeah, I had the dance yesterday. It was just a quick couple second dance. Yeah, we did that, or I did that actually. Do we know how many Bitcoin IREN mined in November? No, they have not provided their operational update. They might do that tomorrow actually, which I'm surprised because getting on. Tomorrow's going to be the 6th. Usually they're pretty quick about putting those out. If miner revenue is so much better, won't this incentivize others to start mining? What limits goal hash rate increase of BTC price spikes? Well, that's the thing, right? You might have miners that are still holding on to some of the older machines, and they're basically swinging those. So whenever the profitability makes sense, they'll turn them on. When profitability decreases, they'll turn them off. And I did the same thing in the last, well, not the last 5 years. From 2017 to 2022, I did the same thing with the mining farm that I was managing, right? We were looking to see where the network hash rate is, what's the revenue on the machines that we had, did it make sense to mine at certain points? And yeah, we did the same thing. We turned on machines when it was profitable. We turned them off when it wasn't profitable. So that's definitely going to be happening. And then does it incentivize others to get into, to start mining? I think there still might be people getting into trying to do it, right? But you really need scale at this point. It's becoming an industrial complex in all of its own. Not like it was before. Before you had a better chance, I think, than you do now, because now you have all of these multi-billion companies investing hundreds of millions and billions of dollars into infrastructure and setups and miners and all that stuff. I think it gets more challenging at this point. And the biggest thing is cost of power, right? Let's see what else we have here. Okay. What else do we have here? Okay. Seb, can you please educate me on Bitcoin, altcoins, and Coinbase, MicroStrategy, miners, price, relationship, and long and short? Thank you so much. I would probably not be the best one to do that. I buy and hold these guys here, right? Bitcoin is something you want to hold over the next 10, 20, 30 years, potentially, if you can. Altcoins, you probably want to trade them because, I mean, most of the time you don't see these guys getting to new all-time highs from cycle to cycle. And then you also see the altcoins, the top 10. There's some of them might stick around for 2 cycles, but they get swapped out with newer, better, shinier rocks that are out there. So be careful on those as well. And then as far as the miners, you also want to be in them like in a bear market, start dollar cost averaging into them. At least my idea of that is. And then sell them as Bitcoin starts ripping up much higher. That's kind of the way I do things. Is it the best way? Probably not, right? But it works for me. And then let's see here. Last cycle, do you know Mara cost to mine BTC by any chance? I don't even know if I have the financial data. I mean, if we look up the financial data, we could probably find it out. But I'm sure it was much lower than where it is right now. And that's mainly because the network hash rate has increased tremendously here. Let me see here. Marathon going over here for them. I could probably I have data probably going back to like 2022, I think, on them. Let me see here. If we can, oh my God, G. Oh, I want to unhide all columns. I got data going back to Q1 of 2022. So we were getting into the bear market at that point on it. So I don't have really good data on it. But I would imagine it's going to be much, much lower than where it is right now. Let me see. Back then, their cost to mine 1 Bitcoin, let's see here, go to screen, was calculated about $20,000 for Q1. Q2 came in at 11,000, almost 12,000. So that was definitely an improvement there. Yeah, they were kind of all over the place here. In Q3 was 22 and then 10,000. So I think somebody like that would be also lower. Let me see if I can find Cleanspark here as well, because Cleanspark was mining that back then. Let's go here, unhide this stuff here, unhide columns, unhide all columns. There we go. So we're going back to Q1 for them. Let me see. Cost to mine for them. Yeah. I mean, look at this. Q2 was 13,000. Q3 was 10,000. Q4, much lower than where we are right now with this. But that's something that you're going to see going forward as well. As Bitcoin network hash rate goes up, difficulty goes up as well. That's going to have an impact on it. Plus the halving events. Those are going to make it more costly in the long run. But you're also going to see efficiency gains in miners and ASICs and things like that. That will help lower those as well a little bit, or keep it from going parabolic, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right. So there's that. Okay, talked about that. All right, I think we're pretty much caught up to all the questions here, guys. All right, we've been going on for, well, about an hour and 10 minutes, so not too bad. So we did pretty good today. Tomorrow, we'll cover whatever happens tomorrow with the miners and in general, the market maybe as well, if something happens major. If not, tomorrow's Friday. Everybody's celebrating the beginning of the weekend. So, like I said, otherwise I'll see you guys on Sunday. But if something major happens tomorrow, we'll do a stream or something like that. Or if I'm bored tomorrow as well, I got tomorrow off. So I may get bored. I may do something during the middle of the day for some of you guys that are available during the middle of the day instead of at night, where I'm usually going pretty late, 9, 10 o'clock, and people are sleeping and things like that. So I'll try to mix it up a little bit here if I can. Okay? But otherwise, be patient. We're right at the cusp, I think, of going in that right direction where we want the miners to go. But is it going to be a day? Is it going to be a couple of days? Is it going to be a week, a month? I don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but I think we're really close. All right. That's it. Thank you so much for coming in. Love you all. Have a great night. Have a great weekend if I don't see you guys tomorrow. And then I'll see you guys on Sunday. We'll look at some other metrics and things like that for the miners as well. All right. I'll see you guys then.